Okay, we're back on episode 21. I think this is episode 21 of the podcast.
You're going to be in charge of all episode numbers now.
Well, yeah, actually,
This was a
topic
of debate.
Yeah, no, our one we put out was episode 16, but we thought it was episode 17 and messed it up. So on all the platforms we had it on, I found out today. I'm like, oh, it says 16 episodes, but it has 17. Like episode 17 was in our title. And I went and counted all of them. I was like, oh.
We'll let you guys
16.
decide. It's episodes 16 to 21.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between.
This
You
is
do
all
the
because
math.
of Nate never wanted to put episode numbers on the titles in the beginning. Remember?
We didn't have no space.
Yeah,
When you all caps,
no
huge titles.
It's so funny, dude.
Support for the Nate and Co podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package and the Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle. Join over 8 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code COA8 at manscaped.com. If my math is correct, that's about 16 million balls. The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, it's a game changer. First off, the Lawnmower 4.0. This trimmer is the future of grooming, and dare I say, the greatest ball trimmer ever. Ball trimmer, doesn't that? We usually had 2 balls. This is only 1 ball, singular. Because this trimmer is waterproof, you can say goodbye to the mess on the bathroom floor. You thought that was good, but want to take your grooming game even further to the next level. The Performance Package 4.0 also includes the Weed Whacker nose and ear hair trimmer. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code COA8 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code COA8. Unlock your confidence. Always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.
But we're here with our good friend, Eli Olson, who was on a
Good deal.
podcast
Yes, good deal,
the other
sir.
day with us when
Welcome
John
back. Good
to be
Prizell
back.
walked on as well.
That was a fun one.
And Nate walked off with...
Had to get
What
a
were we
rub
doing?
and tug or something.
Body work.
Talk about it later.
yeah.
So,
Hey, we were just discussing, there's a big Indo swell. And I don't know what point this episode will be out, but we're always consciously watching swells. And this swell in Indo popped up initially really big, something that we all got kind of stressed on because the size of it was like, oh, maybe you kind of have to just be there. Then it downgraded, still really good. And
it upgraded again.
people started dropping out. Like I just was like, I'm not gonna pull it. Stick to my plan. Thought maybe Eli and Co were gonna go, and then we were just discussing if Eli was gonna go because he's got all kinds of things to chase over there.
He's not chasing waves. Let's put it that way. Okay.
I would be chasing waves. It just wouldn't be the only thing I'm chasing.
Follow
it.
your heart.
Damn it.
It's so bagoose over there.
Yeah, it's Pagoose. I haven't been
It's-
since our Neos trip that we were all on.
4 years ago.
4 years? No. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Wait.
No.
5. 5 years ago. It's about to be 6.
But you haven't been to Indo in 6 years?
Yeah.
I feel
That's
like we
too
were.
long.
That's crazy.
Well, no, dude. I've spent like the last... I know
We were there
I'm,
4 years ago.
I'm
Wait,
look
what
very
did you-
strong and healthy.
What
but
did you
I've been
post on your
injured.
Instagram? The one
When?
you said, I really like this angle
Padang.
Jack got.
Oh, Padang. That was from 2018.
That's crazy.
I have
'cause
weed
it-
map stickers on my boards.
It just looked like it could have
Sick
been
Padang, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I was
going to
just-
be padanging.
Dude, that session was crazy.
Southwest.
You guys had
It looked
all
like
left.
a little thicker than normal.
Yeah, and me and Eli, remember our session, the one I'm talking about?
Yes.
Everyone, so you know how crowded Padang is a surf spot on Bali, the island of Bali in Indonesia,
It's
and it
so
is up there
packed.
with one of the worst crowds and most crowded places
So
of all
crowded.
time. And we just so happened to be in Bali, me and Eli, after our Neos trip that Nate was on as well. But we're just like, oh, the waves look kind of fun. Like, let's just go out. And end up being like 6 feet. And as we're paddling out, we're looking at like maybe 60 people in this kind of short lineup. And all of a sudden, guys just start paddling in. Not even
Yeah.
catching waves, just paddling in. I'm like, oh fuck, did they see like a massive shark or something? I remember Healy's coming in. He paddled in. He's like, we're like, what, did you guys see a shark? He's like, no. I'm like, why is everyone paddling in? Everyone just decided to mass.
You know what? One of the
leave.
craziest things I saw when I was staying there in Indo is people are so stuck on
Following people.
but also the tides.
Oh, yeah.
Guys are telling me, hey, low tide, you can't surf it. Impossible.
Yeah.
Go in. It's over.
Spinning barrels, it's not real.
I was looking at Ulus, and it was like a dead low section of the reef, dead low tide. No one out. A right breaking on the outer bommy, reforming it. Could have done 2 turns into a left spinning barrels. The guy's telling me, terrible. It's low tide. It's terrible. I'm like, I just saw a spinning barrel. Like, I'm going to go out. I served by myself 2 hours in this reform, catching a right, doing carves, into a left, getting barreled.
That's so
Guys
funny.
are watching it, just saying, impossible.
But that's what I'd imagine was happening at Padang.
You know what I never forgot?
The tide changed.
Was that session Coach
Well, yeah, they
talking
thought.
about?
I guess they thought the tide was changing. It was changing, I think, maybe.
I paddled out and I saw like 60 guys all bunched up, and I'm like, I'm not going to catch a wave. And then there's a set coming and everyone's scratching, and I'm like, oh man, we're going to get caught inside. I'll never forget, me and Coach go over like probably like a 6-foot wave, and there's like a solid 6, not quite 8-foot wave, but everybody was so far on the shoulder scratching for their lives. And I remember just looking at Koa and just being like, maybe we're going to get waves. Because everybody was so wide,
Yeah.
scratching. Like, I thought we were going to get mowed by like a 12-foot set or something. And
So
then
you went straight into sets.
we went straight into like the deeper spot where
It was one of my best sessions in Indo ever.
it was insane.
It was just me, Eli, Batet, and Healy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like
And
that
I
was
think-
it.
Healy didn't last too long, I don't think.
Yeah, he
might
said he
have been out
surfed for like
a while.
4 hours or
Yeah.
something before.
So you
That
guys
was so
paddled
weird.
straight out around the whole pack and then caught the first set?
No, the pack. Oh yeah, they were kind of.
recurring theme
A couple
here.
guys were kind of bummed. You
know, it's
act
weird.
like you're
We're
some
like-
sort of saint. You're the worst one of all time.
It was weird. We were like smiling during shakas, and guys are just staring at us.
You're on the shoulder.
It was so strange. We paddled out and we got barreled.
We got Harold. It was
Guys were
amazing.
nuts.
There were 60 guys out, but we didn't see anyone.
It's funny because sometimes someone has to do that to show people where to
Where to
sit.
sit, yeah.
Because they'll just be blowing waves way
Yeah,
on
Nate
the
does
shoulder.
it to us even at pipe. He's like, guys, you're supposed to be half a foot deeper than where you're at.
I'm gonna go ahead and say like more than half the waves I don't make is because Nate's pushed me too,
Yeah,
too
right.
deep.
None of us let each other sit deeper than each other. So it would literally the pipe lineup is us 3 and John going like this
And
until
glitching.
we're all too deep.
And
A
if you
weird
look-
little
literally
tornado.
And if you look close enough, there's sparks flying out of our ears the whole time. Just
Why are you
glitching.
sitting there? Why are you deeper than me?
And how crazy is it when you see? Because Jamie is so good at being on that far
Oh,
side
he's the
peak,
best.
and every time you're like, "Oh, was that a good one?" When you see him paddle over there away from all of us on
Yeah.
his fucking soft top,
Yeah.
and you see the clip later, you're like, "How did that wave come in right there?" Insane,
Literally 50 feet away from where we are on the deep boil.
so crazy, dude.
I think Jamie is definitely the best at positioning.
Back and forth.
Always giving himself like a super good chance at least on a good wave. Like he's so good at reading, and like he's just always moving.
Dude, him on his soft top.
Oh,
Do you see people just like part the seas when he's
just-
on that thing?
He's already going. Like he's
Yeah.
he's flying on that thing, and I just can't believe he can like take off upside down on that thing still.
Should be illegal.
Yeah.
Legal.
That's too much. What's up with the? You were just saying, speaking of Indo, telling the craziest story of people crashing on their mopeds.
Dude, I'm one of them. You seen my story? Eat shit. Car, blind turn. I was cruising, going to dinner. Not going crazy. It's a super sharp right turn. This car comes, just more than half their cars in my lane, and I'm just like, take a car head on or eat shit. And I was like, I'm gonna eat shit. I just swerved around it into loose gravel, trying to like hold on. And it was just the bike was sideways, and I was just rolling.
It's
within
so
seconds.
hectic
Shit.
over there, the driving, because like, if you guys don't know or haven't been, it's the highways are just a straight free for all. It's a chaos. Like
It's crazy.
There might, even if there is a lane, the lane is completely ignored. Guys take blind turns in the middle of the road in a van.
Red lights don't mean stop.
Red
People
light.
just-
They
Just
don't
go.
mean they don't. They
Seriously,
do
like-
not.
Like I was like with Patek,
Crazy.
and I rented a car, and he was driving, and it was a red light, and I was like, whoa, and he's just like, no, it's good. And like,
Fine, we're
because
going.
like cars were turning right, so I guess we were just good to go. I don't know, but it's Indo.
And you
Third
saw
world country.
2 tourists crash and
Oh
get
yeah,
mauled, huh?
that was one of the probably gnarlier crashes I've ever seen in my life. I didn't know where they're from, but they were like definitely visiting. Like they're white, so like America, Australia, or somewhere like foreign. And I watched the whole thing happen. We were going around like this windy road close to Bingen, and then a guy passed us, and they were going kind of slow. So I was like thinking about it. I was like, maybe I'll go around him. And then this guy passed us, and the guy with the chick on the back, I think he got competitive. Like they got past, and he was for sure drunk. And he just decides to just go full throttle. And then I see a turn coming up, and I'm like, this guy's going really fast. Full throttle. I think he almost got scared and like got stuck throttle. And it was a pretty solid left, and he didn't make the turn. He just kind of went more straight into a concrete pole.
Didn't take the turn at all. He just went straight.
He was trying, but if this is the line, he went like more like that.
Oh my gosh.
And then straight into a concrete pole. The whole front of the moped exploded, and the horn was stuck, and it was just like
it's like a scene out of a nightmare.
And it was so eerie, and I like pulled over, and I was like, literally, the guy was big too, and I thought his head was just gonna be open, just like full watermelon.
They had
Just
helmets
hit the-
on? They were just...
no helmets.
Yeah.
The chick was like in the bushes. They're both just like limp, and I was just like tripping out, and I was trying to grab the guy and pull him out of like the bush off of the bike, and I was in the middle of the road, and this local Indo guy started snapping on me in Indonesian, and I was just like tripping. I was like, dude, I'm trying to help, and I'm trying to get this guy out of the bushes, and then more Indos start coming up, and it was like weird how snap they were. And I'd never really been in a position like that, because like, you know, like I've been hands-on so many times around the world, and like been able to like help and just be more hands-on, but they were like threatening us. And Rafi was just like, we have to go. He's like,
Yeah.
this is bad.
Yeah.
And it was so hard for me to just like leave the scene. And it was a trip, because it's like third world country.
Wait, what
don't
were
have-
what were they mad at?
We were in the road, and it was like a scene, and I don't know if they thought like I was going to make it worse.
Like cars were
Or-
stopping
Yeah,
because
and
of
it
you
was-
guys, and it was...
Yeah,
like,
and it was just like a nightmare.
imagine
And
them, though, they
because-
just see it, how much they see it.
Yeah.
And they're like, these drunk idiots.
Yeah,
They
he
keep
was
killing
pissed.
themselves on these scooters.
There has to be way more deaths than we hear about, because I seen like that crash, and then the trip before I seen another guy die.
Die?
In Canggu. I didn't
On
watch
a
it.
moped?
I just rolled up, and he was just, it was like sheet over, super quiet. Car was pulled over, car was smashed. So you know the moped and guy was
Moped
just
car collision.
bad.
That is so sketchy.
And I remember just being like, because remember I used to kind of go nuts on the moped. You would get mad at me. You'd be like, chill out. And I was like, I used to race dirt bikes. I'm Racer X. I'm flying.
Yeah, dude, Bali is just
And then
different.
after that, I was just like, you know what? I realized wherever you're going is going to be doing the exact same thing 5-10 minutes later. So just cruising, just getting there. That's the goal.
When we were young going over
Oh
there,
my gosh, way too much
getting
fun.
roped in with some of the dudes that were there. I remember being on scooters we were with this crew of Jamie when him and his crew were going there.
Damo,
Yes. Kobe, Aberton,
Jamian.
Jamie and Kobe, Aberton, and Kamale and their whole crew.
Yeah.
And
Rowdy.
they were just staying in Kuta, and they were
Oh
just
my
moped
gosh.
crew. And I was just like, terrified.
Here I go.
Here I go.
Just tailing them with the gang.
I ran into a stop car one time with Damien on the back of my moped. Jamie's filming back in the
He
day.
was blocking for you.
Yeah. Luckily, we weren't going too fast. It was kind of funny. So it was like
Damien was on the back, and
I was packing Damien on a moped. I don't know how
That's
we really
amazing.
fit, because Damien's a pretty big dude,
He's a
you
big
know?
boy.
Big dude.
But yeah, I just went straight into the back of it, and no one really got hurt, but it was kind of just
You
funny.
guys remember the Fiji trip? We probably can't put this in, but when Damien was on the flight,
Turned
And-
around looking at the row behind him. Couldn't sit down because he had like something
his
terrible.
tailbone, we'll say his tailbone was blown.
He had
but
like an ingrown
No,
hair.
I thought he had like a
gnarly infection.
what's that
boil.
called?
Like a boil.
he had to get surgery. But I'll never forget looking
Oh, he had to
back.
get surgery.
He had to get
A
surgery.
hemorrhoid.
No,
No,
it wasn't
no,
a
no, it's a-
hemorrhoid. It was a boil ingrown hair.
Yeah. And it got infected or something. And
Super infected.
Was he on the? Was he shooting on the tower?
He was on the
in
tower.
Cloudwick?
Yeah.
That tower is the tower was disgusting.
yeah.
Sleep tower.
It was probably
Bird shit tower, dude.
probably between that and heat and whatever. But that flight back, I felt so bad, but I
take
couldn't
this?
stop laughing.
Imagine the row behind him.
No,
He
yeah,
wouldn't
everybody's
sit
chair
straight,
was
just
looking
he
forward.
turned
Okay.
around, staring
Wait,
at them.
honestly, I don't think I was on this trip.
You didn't make that one. That was my
But I
first trip.
remember the story.
Yeah.
But what happened was, I guess the filmer who was there, Damien, our good friend,
Yeah.
had like an infected hair on his butt
Yeah,
cheek, so he
yeah.
couldn't sit on the flight normal. So he
Turned
was
around.
straddling the chair the other way, staring at the people in the chairs
like
behind us.
Everybody looking forward, and I look back and I check
And
on
then
him.
he's
And
just
it's like everyone's looking like this, and he's just like this. And I was thinking about the owl behind him, like they would just be like, "How's it going?"
Such a nice dude.
sweating too.
Like, hey, what's up,
'Cause he
you
was
guys?
in a lot of pain too.
Dude, it
so
was
you're
bad. He like told the flight attendants he needed a row, and they're like, "No." And
No.
He's like, "I broke my tailbone." And they're like, "No."
No, yeah.
They're ruthless.
Poor
guy.
Poor dude.
We took him straight to the hospital.
Straight to the hospital.
That was
What kind of surgery do you need?
They
butt surgery. Yeah.
it had become so infected. I think
Sorry,
he basically
Damo.
had staph, and I think they pulled like a hairball out. Like it was a really bad, massive ingrown hair,
Jesus, dude,
and
poor
it
guy.
pulled like a bunch of hair out of this staph hole.
gosh.
That sounds terrible.
Staph hole.
Yeah.
Ugh, yuck. Traveling is just
Good
not
hygiene.
just to be injured or sick traveling. It just makes the whole terrible travel experience that much worse.
It's not
Dude.
ideal.
It enhances it by like I'd say 10 times.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
How bad it can be.
I got so leveled my last Indo trip, going through Jakarta. The what's it called? Customs line. They just pile in everybody from different sides of the planet, shoulder to shoulder. One of my biggest nightmares is literally this exact situation when you have people on your back, like pushing your backpack,
So
coughing,
annoying.
and breathing on you. I just like will look at them and I'm just like, I can't go any further. I'm like, look at the distance I have between the guy in front of me and they're just belly on your backpack, just I'm just like, I will
So
swing
annoying.
right
What?
now.
I'll
And then I
use
got
my backpack. I'll
Yeah.
be like, I'm just
like,
going around it.
Sometimes I'll,
You're gonna hit them.
as I'm taking a step forward, I'll take a step back, and they just go boom, and I'm like, oh, sorry, you're a little close, yeah.
How funny is it once you go third world or even just traveling in general, there's just no personal space. Like when you're in line just standing there for an hour and you know you're going to move 6 inches down the line, people are just right there on you and you're just
Yeah.
like, what?
It's
the
different
fuck,
countries,
dude?
different cultures. They just some
Yeah.
just have very little idea of personal space.
There's like the closer the better.
They love it.
Save space in this airport.
Yes.
Or
Get
when
off
you're
the
like-
plane.
Sweat on the other
Get off the
person.
plane first. Invade personal
Oh
space.
god,
Yeah.
dude, that is the worst.
I love when you're like in a line and you're kind of given some space just to like try and be respectful, and then somebody's slowly cutting you, but you're kind of giggling like watching them. I'm like, where are you gonna go?
Where's there to go?
It's like the person who was behind you is now right next to you, like almost
Yeah,
in front.
yeah.
I'm like, are you gonna do it?
Yeah.
Or?
Oh, even just the other day at Food Line, I was standing in line. And I didn't even say anything because it was just like, whatever. But this Asian, I think it was a girl or a guy. I'm not sure. Just, I was standing in line. Like,
Can't assume these days.
you can't tell. I was standing in line. And that was a joke. It was a dude.
Keep it
It was
in.
a dude.
Keep it in.
I'm Asian. I'm Korean.
yeah.
Eli, Japanese.
Yes. Yes.
But where was I going? Oh, I was standing a little bit back so people could pass by, and this Asian guy just came straight in front of me and put his stuff down the thing.
The self checkout.
No, I was
Oh.
waiting in line. Oh no, this was at Whole Foods.
Koa,
It
where
was-
were you really? It's like, the story is massively changed, okay?
was at
Not
Whole Foods.
everything's adding
okay,
up.
you know what you
They're on other sides of the island. Like,
No.
Foodland's here on North Shore.
It was a
Foods in
grocery
town.
store the other day,
What's
and
that
I'm
spot in Venice?
standing.
Erewhon. That's Erewhon. I was in a different country.
No, they just fully cut. I was just so over saying stuff. That
You
was
just
like,
let it happen.
Just go
You're
ahead.
like, you know what, brother? You go.
It's, you know what?
You go. You go.
If it's
I'll
stressing
just
you out,
Keep my
take
storytelling.
He
to
paddled
myself.
out and went straight around you.
it. Facts.
He paddled out and he went. He told you where you needed to sit in the lineup. He was like, "You're not deep enough, brother."
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
Yeah, that's a grocery store room. Okay, so you guys all know we just all watched the Final Five event. And so the new format, obviously everyone knows, but for those, if anyone out there doesn't know, new format of the World Tour is halfway through the year, they cut to basically half the people get cut off, and those have to requalify through the Challenger Series. The rest move on, and the goal of the tour was to make more exciting events in the second half of the season. And then there is a final event where another cut happens, and only the top five of the leaderboard, move on to a final event at Trestles. And so you get this thing happen. There's been tons of debate, tons of arguing over a good thing or bad thing. Some surfers hate it, some really like it. But it does create more exciting events as the year goes on, just because you get these condensed heats of the top half of the draw. So now all of a sudden you kind of only get super heats in the later half events. And so we finished the second tour year since they've made the change. And again, this year, same as last year, Felipe Toledo leading on the men's side going into the Trestles event, and Carissa Moore leading going into the women's side. And the crazy thing is I'm pretty sure had it been normal tour years, both of them would have won world titles before the final event in Hawaii, which used to end at Pipe. They would have won those world titles. They
Yeah.
were so far ahead on the leaderboard.
Pretty sure Carissa could have missed the last two events and still just had it.
I think that's the reason they changed it, because they didn't want people winning before it was over.
They didn't want people winning and
Which
tuning
kind
out.
of does make sense to me.
It makes sense viewership-wise to keep people like tied in. But I will also say Pipe was one of the most exciting events of the year.
They have to bring it back to Pipe.
And everyone did love watching Pipe. And I don't think anything will come close to having a world title showdown at Big Pipe. And not that
I
it's
don't
going to
think so
happen
either.
every year.
Yeah.
But if you think back to some of the most historical heats is when two guys match up in the final at Pipe, and that final heat, and it's 8 to 10 foot pipe, is deciding the world title.
AI
Yeah.
and Slater.
Exactly.
Just
I think-
you can't. That's a big drama show. Can't beat that.
But it also, in my opinion, it sucks for Carissa, right? That's
It
two
does.
world titles. Like, she was the champion all year long. She surfed a championship year. She was the most consistent.
Yeah.
Every comp showed up and got a placing that would put her in the lead the entire year, all year long, yellow jersey. And then one bad event, and you're out.
I felt really bad. for
One
her.
bad event,
Yeah.
one bad
Yeah.
day. It comes down to a single day, and you're out. And that's
Single heat.
well, it's best out of, so the final
Oh, they serve 3 times.
3 heats, yeah. And so that is
That's
just
tough.
hard. And
That's a lot.
obviously we're huge fans of Carissa because
Grew up
it's
with her.
Hawaii. We grew up with her. We just back her super hard. She's our first surfer from Hawaii with an Olympic gold medal. And
Yeah.
we just are like, we were all fired up to see her win.
Yeah.
Congrats to Caroline Marks. She surfed incredibly well. But it's that weird twist thing, right? On the other side is you have Philippe, who it was in the same position, led all year long, comes down to Trestles, and he just is like, nah, like, I'm going to win
just-
all 3 heats
Yeah.
and every event all
Yeah.
year long. The guy is just
How many did
Terminator
he
mode.
win this year? He won a ton, huh?
He was just freakishly consistent. He's surfing
Crazy.
so good.
I didn't really watch too much of the other events, but I watched the final day and it was crazy. And like that's something to think about. Like you have one off event. Something I think about with fighters too. It's like it's so hard to be performing your best every single time.
Whoa, that's a crazy noise.
That's like a tire blowout or a car
Yeah.
crash. It's still going.
Still going.
What is that?
I don't know. It's so weird.
I wonder
sounding.
if there's no way they could hear that through the mic, huh?
No, there's some kind of car incident. We could hear it on the highway.
I think it might be a street bike or something. It's still going
that's
slightly.
so weird. That was the weirdest noise.
Well, it sounded like a
Sound
car
like
just locked
something
up
out of
in
Jurassic
e-brake
Park.
or something.
Yeah.
Where
Like a
was I?
Screech.
You
Going off of
were-
trying to be consistent
Oh yeah.
constantly, like that's tough. Like Philippe, that shows how much of a badass he is. He is
Totally.
smoking guys the whole year, and then comes the final day with all that pressure to rise to the occasion and perform. Like, it's pretty insane. But then there's the other side. Like Carissa could have missed the last couple events, and she would have had a world title, but she had just an off day, and that's tough. Like that's why when you see guys in fighting too that are so dominant and consistent, like you gotta tip your hat because you're like to show up and keep performing at the highest level. Like it's pretty impressive.
And the pressure seems to build, right? Like all of a sudden, when you're the champ, you have everything to lose, and those guys in that last event that aren't, they have everything to gain.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
already bottom. Like, so every heat they make is a win, whereas
Yeah.
the champ has to sit there all day. So like the format is the 5 go in, right? And so 5th surfs against 4th. Whoever wins that surfs against 3rd. Whoever wins that surfs against 2nd. Whoever wins that surfs 3 heats against world number 1.
Yeah.
So it made it interesting in that way because like this year, Ethan Ewing, if he had like he broke his back was what he did in Tahiti only 4 weeks ago, which I was thinking I was like, I don't know how
Only
he.
4 weeks.
I mean, Chopes was not that long ago from
I
the
didn't even know he broke his back.
Yeah.
He broke his back in Tahiti out of the event.
Where? Like what part of his back?
He did something
it was
similar
a pie,
to
yeah.
what I did, I guess, a compression fracture. He fractured it. He didn't break it like super crazy, but he fractured his back is what he said he did. So that recovery was just like,
Freakishly fast.
and then it's not like you're getting barreled where you're pretty like motionless on your body. Like he was doing these carves, like these psycho.
He was surfing really
He
good.
was surfing
surfing
so good. Yeah.
and doing these full wrapping, full rotating carves, laybacks, and
Not
honestly,
looking good for the spine.
no, not looking good.
Yeah.
It's fine, but
No.
it was so crazy to see him start surfing his heats, and you're just like, oh my god, like this guy on the face, like he just looks better than the other guys. He looks faster, and
Well-
he did that over and over again, faster, smoother, doing his carves. First heat with Philippe's first wave, it was literally
Yeah.
like 2 times the speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
he does a carve, something else, I think it was a snap or something, and then he does a full rotation air. And
Yeah.
no one the entire day, up until Philippe's first wave, had done a successful air or even like left the water.
Yeah.
I was like,
could-
oh
he-
my god!
He
Like
raised the bar
'Cause-
pretty quickly. And 'cause-
wave 1 in the final heat.
I only turned it on once I got to their heat, like the first heat of the final.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away at the speed of Felipe.
Fastest
Crazy.
surfer
It
alive.
made
Dude,
it
so
made
fast.
the Ethan Ewing look like an amazing surfer, but he looked slow.
Looked slow, and
I
like, that was what was crazy.
baffled
is
because
he
Ethan
made-
was ripping.
He was
ripping,
surfing so
like-
good.
He made everyone look slow the whole day.
That is
and then all of a
crazy,
sudden
dude.
he was looking slow
Yeah.
compared to
was-
the speed at which
It looked like he was on a like just. It was weird how fast
Those
he
boards
was
are
going.
looking really good under his
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
I was super curious to see how Griffin was going to do. Just hometown hero, a lot of pressure, and he surfed so good. I was kind of rooting for him. You're rooting for everybody. Like we're friends with everyone, but I was like, all that pressure and signs and lead up.
I
wanted
saw
him-
that stuff too. I was like, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a lot. I was hoping he was going to do good because of that, and then I seen when him and Ethan went up together. I was super curious to see how it was going to go, and Ethan was looking so good. And then I started to think I was like, he might win a world title today.
Yeah.
And then he was like you guys said, he went up against Philippe, and the level was just like it was pretty crazy. Philippe is so gnarly.
And it's like that kind of
Yeah.
things too. Like a momentum thing happens. Like, oh, for Ethan, as he's building up to surf against Toledo, I was thinking the same. I'm like, oh man, like Australia could get a world title because this guy is like comeback story, injury, back to full form. He just beat 3 dudes, like demoed them, and he surfed 3 heats.
Oh wait, was he in 5th?
He surfed against, so Joao surfed against Jack. Joao beat Jack, went to Ethan.
Oh.
Ethan beat Joao, then
Griffin.
Yeah.
Then
2 more with
2 more heats with Toledo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, he fully had the momentum. And did you see that one interview after, I don't know if it was after Joao or Griffin, but he was like, he had the fire.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, everyone's doubting me.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
And he's
I
like,
saw
I
that.
fucking love it. And I was just like, wow, like, that was pretty cool to see.
He's pretty mellow seeming,
Yeah.
like, from the outside, but
Yeah,
then you hear him talk, he's like, I love it, keep doubting me.
Yeah, I was just
I was
like,
like,
wow.
whoa, I was all fired up.
I liked it. I was like, let's go, dude.
Yeah.
I was kind of cheering him on. The doubt, fire.
Yeah. I think I would watch more of like competitive surfing if everyone was a little just more fiery in their interviews.
A little more honest. It's crazy. It's
Everyone's just too scared to get canceled, I feel like.
It's 2023. I was just going to say, like, we are terrified to get in trouble, go against your contract somehow, or get some backlash or whatever. But sometimes I think the troublemaker child that's still in me a little bit sometimes wants to push it, but we can't.
Well, like you see it like flow through everything in the tour is the way they even judge to a degree, because from what some of the heats you watch, you see guys that have this crazy X factor get watered down as they surf more heats on tour, because someone else is getting judged off completing 3 nice turns, but this guy does a turn in a huge air and gets the same score, and he's like, why am I going to risk a massive air? And this guy just did 3 nice turns, good timing, gets the same score as me when I put everything on the line for a huge air.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that in the first exchange of the final with Felipe and
Completely agree.
The other kid.
Ethan.
I couldn't believe, Ethan ripped that way, but I was like, bro,
like,
Toledo just did combination surfing, everything on the line. He did every move.
like, why are you not pushing progression?
How are you not scoring that higher than Ethan's turns are insane. His turn, his form, his style, everything looks so sick. But you have to, like, reward progression on the wave.
What if they did this? Okay, this is also another reason I would watch surfing. If they went, okay, we're not going to really score you too much on carves, but if you do a couple crazy airs on a wave, that's how you're going to get a 10. Like, that's what we're going to score you on. It's just huge airs and, like, gnarly maneuvers.
You would see airs progress, right? Like,
there would be 3 airs on a wave.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
You know? Where now it's like they want, like, I'm not saying I don't like the type of surfing, but it does get boring.
I just think
for a whole day,
you need to reward progression instead of, like, in the face. Like, I get it that some of those guys can do air reverses the same as some can do carves, right? The air reverse is no longer a move of consequence for them. They're like, they have it so unlocked every single time. But when someone does a combination of everything, huge fast carve, whitewater climb, full rotation, how is that the same score as someone who does 3 of the same carves? Like, that guy showed no diversity. He showed no, like he did what he was comfortable doing.
Exactly.
And it looked insane. I can't do those turns. But as a viewer, you're like, don't you want to see these guys, like, change? They're the best in the world. Why can't we watch them do shit on waves that you're just like, oh my God?
Yeah, it was like the same in a previous podcast. We were talking about how we would watch toe surfing.
Yeah.
Be like only if Kai Lenny and Lucas Jumbo were just doing 360s on waves down the face and off the lip and stuff, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I do feel like, I think the whole tour just needs or internally at least, like, just needs to be gutted. Like, everyone who's in charge is just like, they just keep fumbling it, dude. I swear, like,
they should let us run it. What could go wrong?
I think, like, it's one of those things where anyone in charge is going to get heat.
For sure.
Doesn't matter what they're doing, they're going to catch heat. But there is, this year, it seems like, there has been one thing after another that has pissed the fans off.
Yeah, well, and I
they're
feel like
just
the
angry.
surfers on tour, from what I've heard from everyone I've talked to, is not like
They're not
super
psyched.
stoked on the tour.
Yeah.
The ones that are surfing.
But I
I'm
saw,
not gonna
like-
drop any names or anything, but
John put it a good way. I saw in an interview he did where he was like, "Hey, when an organization tries to make changes, there will be a period where maybe those changes didn't work out the way they thought they were, and everything looks terrible. But that's why you change, and you just have to be able to change, keep changing if it goes bad. Hey, we're gonna make these updates and see how it goes. Oh my God, that sucks. Let's change again to like the next thing." So he was kind of saying like, it needs to progress, and maybe during that like progression, that some of the changes aren't going to be very good, and then you'll learn and be like, okay, we got to take this out because that was a terrible move, or the way certain things are judging. Like,
so it is good if the fans step up and say they
Yeah.
don't like it, kind of,
but I also think like
or they do love it. They
you
say
need
what
to
they
have
love.
judges that
Yeah.
are guys that surfed at an elite level. Like, I don't think there should be judges. I don't really know who's judging. I don't know even one of their names.
They keep
but
it secret because people get so mad at them.
yeah, I would imagine. But I also think
probably
those
get death
guys, should have at one point competed at an elite level in their career. Because if they haven't done that, then they don't know even what's happening in those heats. They have no relatability. They're
Yeah.
they might as well be an amateur surfer judging pros.
I'm pretty sure some of those.
It's like critics without credentials. Like,
Critics without credentials.
and that's what's crazy too about surfing and judging is it's human nature to latch on to certain people or favor certain people. I could never be a judge because I'm so biased. Like, Ko and Nate catch a wave, I'm like, it's already excellent.
You get caught up in the hype too. Like,
Yeah.
you as a human, you might get caught up in the hype
For sure.
of somebody.
yeah.
And you see it even in fighting. Like, there's fights where guys got the hype and the momentum and they get pushed through.
Close fight happens and they get the call, and you're
They
like,
get the
I don't
nod.
think he won that.
Yeah.
That happens all the
That was
time.
kind of rogue.
All the
like,
time.
Yeah. So in surfing, I feel like exactly like it's almost like you can't script this. Sometimes you can.
Sometimes you
like-
can.
You're like,
Isn't that
okay,
their
like,
slogan? You can't script
yeah.
it.
I just called them out, but
Yeah. So
you want to grab me one? Por favor.
I don't know. I don't know where
what are we
it's
talking
going.
about?
We're talking about.
How do we get here?
We got here in the final five. We're talking about watching the final event, the cool parts and the bad parts, and the WSL where it's possibly headed. But I mean,
They got to just give it to us. Let us run it.
give us back the Big Wave World Tour.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about that. Oh. One of these days. One of these days we gotta do that. Hey, one of these days we have to do that.
Yeah, we
podcast.
need to do the beer cast.
Guys, what do you think about us? Maybe another friend or two. Beer sponsor.
Beer
Easy
cast.
Rider. Somebody step up.
Coors Light.
Give us
Easy Rider.
Give us 30 rack. And we just wrap out. We could even do it live.
Oh yeah.
Talk story. No? Okay. We got to edit some stuff out, I'm sure.
Zord's like,
But,
I told Zord that idea, like, yeah, maybe live we'll do it. And he's like, how to get canceled 101.
Very true. Yeah.
Or what about
we
the
push
meme?
limits.
Okay.
The meme you sent me about
It says
let's start a podcast.
two
like,
bros. Let's set our podcast, and it shows one guy being booked into jail after.
Oh, yeah.
like the first episode.
That was funny. Big Wave Tour.
Yeah, bring
is
back
it
the Big Wave
is it gonna come back?
I honestly, if I was in charge of making decisions in the surf world, of like the competitive side at least, I would bring the Big Wave Tour back over anything because I feel like if you want to, obviously they created the tour to get at the end of the day the WSL is trying to make money, right? And if they want to make money, they need views and to sell shit.
And the best views they ever had were the Big Wave events.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's weird because why would they cancel all the tour events? And the Big Wave Tour was pretty much canceled because surfers were like super underpaid. Like when we did Jaws, first place by the end of like year 4 or whatever it was, first place was like 25 grand. Whereas the winner of.
And we're paying for our flights, paying for our stay, paying for our rental cars.
Well, like you lose first heat in one of the CT events, you get like 17 grand or something.
I don't know.
And then 100 grand for first place any event, and then the world title one was like 200 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like the big wave tour, the funding wasn't really there, and surfers were like, "Why am I going to go risk my life for this brand that's putting this on to make money off of me for not like any money?" Remember, we were talking about how the big wave tour, like by the end of
Kinda
like
just
year
fizzled out.
3 or something, like first place at Jaws was like 25 grand.
It's crazy. We had the least events. I mean, well, there was the 3 tours, right? Men's World Championship Tour, Women's World Championship Tour, and then the Big Wave Tour.
Longboard.
Is that a thing? Is there a
There's a longboard world tour.
Because I knew there was
There's a champion.
Is there a
duct tape.
boogie bar?
El Champion.
I knew there was a duct tape world tour, but I didn't know there was WSL ran a
What
longboard world tour.
That's
No, yeah,
Tudor's
there's-
tour.
Tudor's tour
Duct tape.
is the duct tape. Tudor's tour.
I can't tell what's real.
Is there a boogie board tour?
I didn't know.
There should be.
That.
I would watch a
thought
slab,
the world
boogie board slab
champion-
tour.
Yeah, I would watch it.
that.
I would watch
No,
it.
guys are
there's
I thought the longboard world champ was the duct tape. I thought that was what that hole was, and Tudor did it on his own. I didn't know it was tied in with the WSL. Or is there 2?
I feel like we should maybe know, but we don't.
shows how exciting longboarding is.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had the least events,
Anyways.
the least prize money, the most risk, and the most views. So you do the math on that, and we're basically just getting screwed.
Yeah, it wasn't a good deal.
Underpaid.
Yeah.
But
It's crazy.
It was
like-
also so sick to have a tour.
It was
Those were
pretty
so
rad.
fun. We were traveling around. We were doing Jaws. We were doing Porto. Nazare was an absolute nightmare to paddle. But it was fun to have the big wave guys all show up to an event and send it.
Bunch
I
of
think it's the
psychopaths
most-
Yeah.
in and out of the water.
If the WSL wants to make like money and get views, that is the best way to do it. And you have all these surfers that are here just like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like
Revving.
we'll go to every event. All you gotta do is just make the prize money good and pay for us to go. Like how hard is that?
Yeah.
For the amount of like viewership and
They
money
still
they'll make off of it.
benefit so much more than the surfers, and it'd be
Well,
pretty rad.
look,
Speaking of
The chicks at Jaws, one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen.
breakdancing, sending.
Look what they did though.
They're
They
getting
got
barreled.
they got the best deal ever with what they turned their big wave program into. All they need is Nazare. All we care about is a world record wave. We don't have to give awards out every year because a world record isn't caught every year. And we throw a huge prize purse, get headlines. $500,000 we'll pay to the world record holder. All of the money goes to that. They don't have to give that out every year, like I said, because world records come and go. And on top of it all, they are in charge of deciding how to measure the world record. And it's like
so
not
weird.
It's not public how they measure it.
Who
You'll never be
Who
accurate
measures-
on a wave. You can't.
who measures the wave, and how do they do it exactly? Because like
They don't say, from what I know, I don't think it's public how they do it, because then, I mean, guys could be measuring their own waves with that public information, and someone might say, my wave's bigger than the one you're saying is the world title. Like,
I want someone to measure my logs wave, because remember the year you guys were in the event, they called it off because it was just maxing tow waves.
Oh,
And then
Jaws.
oh yeah,
You guys were at Jaws and I was at Outer Logs,
Yeah.
and then that year, me and John went out, and that was the biggest wave I've ever paddled in my life. It didn't get nominated. A bunch of people like you guys and other surfers ended up almost being better for me because people were like, what the fuck? That wave was huge. And it got like almost more hype than if it did. But the very next year, Jaws, we all teamed up. We all went to the event, and me and you battled for biggest paddle of the year,
Yeah.
2020. It was super close one. They could have flipped the coin, and I got super lucky, and I won that year. My logs wave was 100%
Bigger than that
way
wave,
bigger.
yeah.
And I was just like, it just didn't even get nominated. And then to win the next year, I was super grateful. And it was like the biggest achievement of my life. But I was just like, who measures this and how? Like, and it's just like it's a trippy thing that it really is almost opinions sometimes.
It's opinions, and it's also like we never. I mean, it's just so biased. The whole thing is so torched because there's so many personalities in big wave surfing, right? Guys do not want certain waves to be registered. Like, how long have the slabs been buried? Because certain guys can't surf them, but they want other waves to be nominated and shown and that. And so you have, and that goes with each wave. Like, sometimes Nazare over Jaws, even though Jaws is way heavier. Or like, oh, because you caught your wave at Outer Logs, that's not Jaws. Mm-hmm. That can't be registered. Mm-hmm. We don't know that wave.
It wasn't part of that event. It was...
Totally. Yeah. So, like, it just gets ignored because it's not these are our spots that we always nominate, and Jaws will always win the ride of the year, or this Nazare will always win biggest wave, and then you can't catch a bigger wave anywhere else. Like, that's what they get stuck on. And there's so many personalities in so many ears, and then we rouse the shit out of them every time they do an event.
Just give up.
They're like, fuck you guys, man. We're not doing it. Like, I see too, like, we're pretty hard to deal with, like, but because we don't ever come together on anything. Because everyone in big wave surfing is in it for themselves.
And there's a bunch of psychopaths, and definitely too many chefs in the kitchen.
You have guys like needing to show up for meetings and then disappearing on 3-day benders.
Imagine
hello,
that.
Nobody's answering. I don't think anyone's gonna answer.
Even if they do.
Nobody's home, man. Click.
Physically, they might be, but mentally, they're not. They're a bunch of animals. But it makes sense. Like, why do these people put their lives on the line, push it so hard, break world records? There's a glitch. There's a glitch in all of us.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny that we happen to just click and grow up together.
Yeah.
And all pursue the same dream and have that glitch. And I don't know.
That is the one thing that is the best thing about the big wave community is we're a tight-knit group. We've been forced to bond. Like us, we grew up together. We've always been best friends. But even like we have very close friends around the world. Yeah. Because we've all sat out there and stared down a 30-footer together and been like, well, boys, here we go.
Misery loves company. And
hope he survives. Yeah.
You'd think we could all make a decision together.
No.
We can't even write back to an email chain.
We're like, I'm like calling you guys. I'm like, did you get back to that email? And you're like, no. And I'm like,
I don't like what that guy said. I'm not responding.
Me neither.
I guess it could come down to just the surfer's fault. Yeah. You know, we just don't communicate well.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Unless we're in the lineup screaming at someone to get off the wave where we're going.
Communication all of a sudden gets pretty crispy.
Those big wave sessions where you're just so happy to be alive, and then like having a beer with like people you weren't that close with. I feel like that night you just like bond.
Yeah, totally.
And it's just like our joke was we're caught inside partners for so long, like everywhere around the world, from Mexico to Fiji to Jaws to our outer reefs. Like
you just see the two boards in the face.
Somehow Code would always catch a wave or like be 10 feet outside of us, or like somehow we were always just getting the worst beatings ever. And I was just, I'd be so scared, but like look over and we just almost start cracking up. We're like, we're fucked.
It's over. Here we go again.
It's really nice when you're getting caught inside by big waves to be next to your friends.
It's the best.
Much better with a buddy.
This one cracks me up.
Alone is so frightening and terrifying.
It's true terror.
Just you in the ocean.
Alone.
Yeah.
You know, something I cracked up about was me and you got caught inside by that super rogue Hemi set one time.
Yep.
And got completely almost smoked by the first one we got under it. And the next one was just already breaking. And we're like, oh man, here we go.
Wait, when was this?
It was when we were still...
When we were all grounds, we all got caught, you popped up by Ivan?
Yeah. It was like a rogue set. We're all surfing together, I'm pretty sure. I don't even know what year.
when I was like 17.
We were
like 17?
teenagers.
We
Yeah.
were like in board shorts.
All the boards were snapping underwater.
Yes.
And all the
Yes.
leashes were breaking.
Yeah. We just.
That was the first time I ever heard something like that.
Yeah.
And there was like those leashes with the pins were like the thing. And I remember cracking up because I didn't think about it, but I pulled my pin of my leash thinking I want to swim down. And I pulled my pin and I had it in my hand, and you need that to put back in, and I threw it like it was a grenade. I don't know why. I pulled my pin, I was like, oh, and I dove under. My board gets washed up, and then I remember getting so pounded and finally making it in, and I went to get my leash, and I was like, the leash won't go back in.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I just threw
Tossed
the
the
thing.
pin.
I don't know. We just glitch out. But
That was my first real beatdown. It's the same one we're talking about. I was right next to Reef McIntosh. And he's-
Guys were out
still
there.
will tell
Guys
me
were
how
out there in
scared I
board
looked.
shorts. Board shorts. This is before
we
the
had
gear we have now.
We had the O'Neill Impact Vest for wakeboarding.
wakeboarding.
That would like protect their ribs, and they had a little bit of flotation, and we
Wait, the session I got a good wave?
Yeah, you got a good wave.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, and then a 30-foot wall
Bomb.
hit us.
Yeah.
in. The whole
right
entire-
after that.
The
whole
And
entire
John
lineup.
was on it.
John
John
rode that wave.
caught one of those sets.
Maybe like no, he did. It wasn't the first one though.
Oh,
Oh yeah, he
It was
somehow long armed
Yeah.
it and
He
made it.
he made it over and he caught one of the next ones way on the side, but we were still diving through.
Yeah.
But I made it through.
Your board hit
and
me in the head.
I got pulled over.
Yeah, we got absolutely smoked, and I remember being a couple years older than Ivan, and we were so young that he was super grom.
Yeah.
So I remember being like super worried, but looking at Ivan, and he had the look of just the
Terror.
fear, and I was like, Ivan, just breathe, we're good. And I remember we were the last two people to get picked up, and I remember like the ski came, and I was like, go Ivan, and then I remember being by myself like. Being like, holy shit. Like, that was the scariest beatdown of our lives at the time.
Oh yeah.
Damien was shooting.
Yeah.
Same Damien
On a
we were just
car
talking
or
about.
something, yeah?
No, he was
Or he
way
went
up
up
in the
the-
mountains.
yeah.
He got up on a
that's right.
mountain.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Classic.
They're saying it's El Nino this
I know.
this season. What are you guys thinking about that?
I don't know.
I have a strange feeling that it's going to be a psycho year.
Yeah, it's hard. So they always say something every year, but
Yeah.
this year, the way all those swells happened in Porto and Fiji didn't get huge, but it was so consistent. And Australia season went off. I could see it happening where we get that. We talked about it on one of the other ones. That every other Wednesday, Thursday, or every other week was a 25-foot swell. Outer reefs were breaking every other week for an entire season.
Yeah.
Remember how drained we were after that run? Like, I felt like not like depressed, but just like drained, where it was like hard to get excited about.
I think
stuff.
about that though too, and we weren't even full on yet.
No,
like we missed
were-
swells and days.
yeah, we were,
like
like,
we were
surfing
grom still. Like we
sandbars.
still
Yeah.
have to be on every one. Like think
Yeah.
about like those little bit older guys. I was like Dorian was in his absolute
Healy,
heyday. Dorian Healy,
Hippo.
Yeah.
Hippo, Mark. Like
Yeah.
those guys had to chase every single one. They were doing the Jaws to Mavs to Totos.
Oh my
like
gosh.
that. Because the
Yeah.
swell goes down. Like they were like doing that multiple
Yeah.
times a month. Just like, what?
Gnarly. Have you been to Toto?
No.
Santa? Me
I've
neither.
never been. Yeah.
We should go.
I would be down to go check it out. I haven't seen like.
It doesn't look like the craziest
cold?
wave, huh?
Is it freezing? Is that the one you take the boat super far out?
No, that's
That's Cortez Bank.
Oh.
I was thinking like Davy Jones' locker or something. Cortez. I don't know why it popped into my head. Then I started thinking about Pirates of the Caribbean.
I watched Pirates of the Caribbean last night.
Really?
Yeah.
Sea
I
of
started the
Cortez.
very first one. I was like, I'm going to just, I don't know.
How good of a movie series?
They killed it.
So good.
They killed it.
I
The
think they're
first,
trying to do
like,
another one, and
three-
they bringing him back, I think. Johnny Depp.
Really?
I think after all that shit happened, I think he's back.
They rehired him after firing him because the chick went all
I
nuts
think
on
so.
him.
The way I don't know. I could be wrong. I should probably know more, but I don't.
That'd be cool. You'd probably be working on that for sure, huh?
I would love to. I really, really, really want them to make another Waterworld with Kevin Costner before he
That
gets
would
too
be
old.
insane.
Mad Max on the water.
Oh my gosh.
Couldn't think of a funner.
They redid Mad Max and it was so sick.
So sick.
Imagine what they could do with Waterworld.
Insane.
So what's the deal with the strike?
Still on strike. I was just talking to my buddy in California this morning, and we have no idea when it's gonna end.
The strike is because they want to use AI to take the actor's image and likeness, and the actors are like, no.
I think it started with the writers. They wanted to use AI to write movies.
So a writer's job's gone.
Just humans with talent and that put their whole heart and soul into it. Just like
And they could just digitally make an actor's face, and they don't even need that dude anymore.
maybe.
And so the actors and writers are like, we're striking.
I think so. I think that was the part of it. And then like stuff with like contracts and residuals and things like. It
Oh,
sounds
like how you don't get residuals from Netflix or
That would be
stuff like
Imagine
that.
someone can
Super
use
weird.
your face, voice, everything, and make an entire show, and
Oh,
you
wait.
don't get kickbacks.
Netflix
Black
just
Mirror.
Yeah, was that what it was?
That's what
one of the episodes is.
It's an episode on that.
I didn't even
think.
see, but yeah,
Yeah, you
it's
gotta watch it.
wild. Like they're trying to, I think, get more, pay less, and like
That's crazy, man.
it's wild. Like I feel like we were a little late to the glory days in surfing, and I feel like I'm a little late to the glory days in stunts. Yeah,
No.
like the guys. Like I remember my first year of like really getting busy. They're
Damn.
like, oh, the fucking Grom, the residuals used to be way better, and I'm like, what?
Dang.
I'm like, fucking, I'm late here too. Like,
That sucks.
yeah, it's crazy, but
I feel like this is always the older generation's always gonna be like that. Like when we're done towards the end of surfing, we're gonna be like, "Oh, it's way better when we were surfing." Grum's
well,
like,
it's kind
you
of.
just don't
I
even
mean, it
send
is.
Get it.
It almost
So
seems
much
like it's
safety on you now.
Didn't all that pussy gear you wear now.
no, that's why I tip my hat to the OGs where I'm like trunks, no leash, huge bay,
that is
huge
gnarly.
Mavericks, no flotation, safety.
Pioneers.
Yeah,
Those
those
guys are
pioneers that
animals.
would just smoke ice and go surf Mavericks in trunks.
Smoke ice.
In trunks.
Smoke
Legit.
ice and go surf.
Imagine if
Mavericks.
we just smoked ice. What we would do.
I don't know.
It's
Honestly,
honestly
it'd never
not
happened, but
a
like,
bad idea because isn't what meth does? It oxygenates your body super gnarly, right?
Yeah, I don't
that
know.
was probably
Super
a
strength.
factor of why they weren't drowning
Performance enhancing.
because their body was so oxygenated.
and they're
With crystal
paddling
meth
so
that they're-
fast. They're just
Performance enhancing.
skimming on the surface.
But that's what happens when you pass out.
Didn't
You
they
run
make
out of
meth for
oxygen.
guys to
But
go
if
into
you're
war?
hyper oxygenated,
Didn't they make meth for guys to go to war?
Yes.
isn't there that
And that's what
story
they were
of the
doing. They were,
it was the
like, going
Nazis,
to-
right?
It was the Nazis. That's what their blitzkrieg, which was like overwhelming speed and overwhelming force. And like at that time, most would like battle in the day. Okay, both armies need rest. So kind of rest it out, battle again. But they were like, nah, we got meth. And then they just gave the guys 3 days, no sleep, super fast tanks. And they just mowed through like all the Allied forces. They called it the blitzkrieg. Fueled
So
by
they
meth.
won.
Imagine like
Holy
They
shit.
won the war by meth.
500 guys in tanks like 500 tanks, high-speed tanks, and all dudes high on meth, in an army of them.
It's not a bad idea for an army.
Yeah, I mean it worked.
Yeah.
They-
Well,
big
disclaimer:
wavy-
I'm not thinking about trying meth. Anyone out there? I was just
Yeah.
just talking shit.
They're saying if,
But it,
if.
the science behind it kind of makes sense.
It's not a bad idea.
Meth's gonna be like how Joe Rogan talks DMT.
Oh yeah, the Anchorman.
I just sent the boys a photo of Anchorman right before we started
Oh
this.
my god.
I'm like about to just pull the plug on that.
Okay, well we're at 57 minutes anyway. With that, it's over. We're done. That's all we got.
Is
for
that
you
it?
guys.
I think that's all we got.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
We'll
Yeah.
get on. We'll
Thanks
shoot
for
another
watching,
one.
Guys.
Yes, sir.
Let's do the beer potty.
Yeah. Subscribe to the YouTube. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, and all the other
looking
streaming
at
platforms.
your
And
episode.
yeah, thanks for watching.
Subscribe
Like
to
this
see-
video.
come
Subscribe to
subscribe to
the
the
channel. And we'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.